on. I keep recording these. Someday I'll figure out where to put them. There. We are now recording. Excellent. Welcome everybody to tonight's session. The first thing we're going to do, there we go. Once again, my shameless plug for Pathways AAA Award, the Early Adopter, Early Advisor, and Early Achiever. You do all three of those, and I personally will mail you one of these fantastic Be Extraordinary pins that I have plenty of. You can see a picture of them there on your screen. And to date, I have mailed 2 pins, and I have one more to go out tomorrow. So congratulations to Scott Stevenson, to Erica, I'm going to really mess up her last name, Thygesen, and I've completely forgot the third name, but I think they're with Yakina Toastmasters. Is it Jancy or is it? No, it's Lauralee Norris. That's right. That was the third person to receive those. So I am tracking all of the awards. If you have not received a copy of the email that you see on the right-hand side addressed to you and not to Kate about how to accomplish all of these, I would be more than happy to send that to you. This was in Voices this last month, but the hyperlinks were disabled, so you wouldn't be able to access the Early Adopter Award application or the Advisor Award application. So if you want all of those active links, let me know and I will send them to you. One other question I had on this is someone asked me about the tracking for the Early Achiever Award. I track those personally by going to Toastmasters about every 3 or 4 days, looking at the daily report to see how many people have completed a level 1. And we have a lot of people that have done level 1s, especially since the last Voices came out. There's even more people that have completed level 1s. We have one person in the district, Alan Ettinger, has completed a level 4 already, and 3 of us have completed level 3s. So people are diving in, and I saw a whole lot of level completions pop up once the confusion about level completion entering was straightened out. And that is the first topic I am talking about tonight. The process, the 2-step process for getting a level completion entered, not only in Pathways, but in Club Central. There is this, there's the belief, and it makes perfect sense, that when they rolled out Pathways, because everything was online, that when you completed a level and the Basecamp manager marked that level as completed, that you would receive credit and everything would be good. Well, it is not quite that streamlined. The Basecamp manager still needs to do the level completion inside of Pathways, but then also needs to go out to Club Central. First, I'm going to talk about the process inside of Pathways from a member's point of view, because I don't have Basecamp Manager, so I can't show you those screens. But on the screen right now, what you're seeing is Presentation Mastery Level 1 with the Level 1 completion box with a red box around it and a nice blue arrow marking to the red button that says Mark Complete. Once you have completed your level assignments, in this case, the 3 projects in Presentation Mastery, the red box on level completion becomes active for you to mark the project as complete. Once you click on that, Pathways gives you a pop-up window with this PDF that explains the process, and it walks you through clicking on the Mark Complete, and then it'll show you that the pending completion approval on your level request. The Vice President Education receives a notification, then they process it through, or whoever is overseeing Basecamp at that point, because it could be either the president or the secretary, because they also have access to Basecamp Manager. And then once they have processed your level completion, the status changes to completed. Once all of that happens, then they need to go to Club Central. We're going to get to that, believe me. So I sent this in, and lo and behold, it worked. Level 1 turned to completed, although it wasn't quite as smooth sailing as that, because once I clicked the Mark Complete, I received in this email back from a member of my club who happens to be our treasurer, asking me which club I was doing my level completion for. Well, this told me one primary thing, and that was that the contact email in Toastmasters International for my club went to this person, the treasurer, as opposed to going to the vice president of education. Now, this is because Toastmasters uses the email on file for contacts. For anybody that's interested in your club, when they click on the Contact the Club link, this is the email that is used not only for contacts, but it is now used also for pathways. So it is very important that this email address, if it goes to someone besides the vice president of education, that someone will quickly send those emails to the person that is handling all of the level completion requests. Now, at this point, Cleon spent an hour and a half trying to do the level completion request for me, but he wasn't able to because he didn't have the access. So once I told him that, he sent the email on to our VPE, who then processed it through, and I received my completion. Now, you may ask, how do you check to see who is the contact for your club? You can do that inside of Pathways. What we're looking at here is inside of Pathways. In the upper right-hand corner is a red box around the search menu. In that search box, I started typing club, and then it gave me a little drop-down box that said club 00001360. And you can kind of see that right over here. I'm circling it with my mouse. That's what it gave me, the drop-down box, but it wouldn't show up on a screenshot. So once I clicked on that, I then was able to come to this Basecamp profile for our club. Inside of this Basecamp profile, the email address that is shown here is the email that all level completion requests are being sent to. Now, coincidentally, as I mentioned earlier, this is also the email that all club contact requests are coming to inside of Toastmasters International Complete. Now, it very well may be at some point in the future that they have split those out so that the VPE gets one and somebody else gets another. But right now, this is what we have to deal with. So please be aware that if your level completion requests aren't getting to you as the VPE, this may be the reason. Or when you send in your completion requests, if you are not receiving quick action on them, they may be going somewhere else. So you can check this, and you can communicate with your club to say, hey, where are these going? Could you please let me know? Okay. Now, moving on, the next page, as I step back into my presentation mastery, it shows level 1 completed. Absolutely fantastic. And this was me on that very day that I was completed. I was two-dimensional and smiling, which for some is, for me, could be an improvement some days. This screenshot is of the e-portfolio. I include this one here because I am a member of multiple clubs, and my VPE had to verify that I'd actually given my speeches, but I'd given them in 4 different clubs. These 5 projects were in 4 separate clubs. So what I did was uploaded my evaluations, the evaluations that I received that I had printed and they wrote on. I filled in a PDF and uploaded it here. So if we can open one of these, I will, whoops, except that's, I forgot I was in a presentation. I can't open it in presentation. We'll go to the live shot and I'll show you that in a bit. But you can open these and see that each one is an evaluation. So I put these into the e-portfolio so that my VPE could have easier access to verifying that I actually did what I said I did. And I'm sure, I am absolutely certain that he, being the stickler for detail that he is, went through and read every single one of this. Actually, I have no idea. But this way, I was certain I had the information in there. All right. Now, I am going to switch my screen share. Whoops. One moment for technical difficulties as I figure out which button it is to push. And Screen share. We are going to desktop. Yes. All right, now we got the desktop. Boom. Going to Zoom. Here we are. Here we are at a live shot of the Toastmasters International web page. Now, before I show you the e-portfolio, we're going to look at the second half of level completion requests inside. Now, for those of us who have been doing the traditional program, doing the level completions is exactly the same way. Well, not the level, the educational awards, because you do those through the Club Central portal, Club Central. It's called Club Central. How you do that, of course, is logging in, which is very important because that will tie you to which clubs you have access to getting to Club Central. Once you are in, click on Leadership Central and Club Central. If you are in multiple clubs, it will give, and an officer in multiple clubs, it will ask you which club you're overseeing. As the case is here, I am only an officer in one of my clubs, so I have access to Club Central as an officer in one club only. Submit Education Awards is the second half of level completion. Once the Basecamp manager has completed it in Pathways, they need to come into Club Central, click on Submit Educational Awards, and then follow the prompts from here. The same way we did with the traditional system, where you find the member that you're entering the information for, and then you step through all the rest of the prompts, because this is where you can do level completions. If you only do the completions inside of Basecamp, the member will be able to continue on with their levels, but the club nor the member will get credit as far as an educational award. This being very important, especially for the Distinguished Club program, and even more importantly, for recognition. Because every month, Phyllis puts a whole list of everybody who's earned every single award in the entire district inside of Voices. And I received an email after Voices came out and said, hey, I've completed these levels, but they don't show up. How come? That prompted me to figure out that somebody probably wasn't completing the second step of this process. And once that happened, whoo, it's raining level completions. It's beautiful. They're showing up everywhere. We have a lot of people that are getting busy. Now, as a bonus tidbit, I'm going to show you how to find those reports. You go into Distinguished Performance Reports, and this you can do as a member of any club. You don't have to be an officer. Once you get into the Toastmasters International dashboard, or as they say right here, go to the far left-hand side and click on Daily Reports. This is where educational reports live. Then you click on Educational Achievements for the current year. Then it brings you to a screen where it asks you what district you are wanting to look for. Select District 7, being our district. Then you click Educational Achievements for the current year again, and it will bring you to the full list of all of the awards that have been entered. These can be sorted by clicking on the top word of each column. So I usually sort them by award so I can see the levels that they're all together. And as you can see right here at the top, this is all Pathways. Levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, and then you just roll down. There's even more than when I looked yesterday. Oh, in fact, Erica's gotten clear up to level 2. She had level 1 yesterday, but they went in both on the same day. But as you can see, lots of people are starting to get those completions in, which is fantastic. That means we're getting more people inside of Pathways and more people experiencing them. And I love the naming conventions they have, especially VisCom. That sounds military. And then here's the one down here, Leadeval. Leadeval? Leadeval. Leadeval. And then my favorite, FCOL. EFFCOAL. Now that's effective coaching level 2, but it comes out as FCOL. So I just have a little fun with how the names show up. Please forgive me. Then to get out of this screen, I use the backup button, which will put me back to Toastmasters International and this, all right, forget it. I'm going to use my shortcut, go right back to the front page. Yep, and we're back to the front page. So that is the two-step process for entering level completions. At this time, I will open it up for any questions on that process, and I muted a couple people because we had some noise in the background. So I shall go through and physically unmute people that I can. So if you have questions, please fire them off or let me know, or you can send them via chat. Hearing a resounding wave of questions. Fantastic. That means I was ultra clear and you have it all figured out. Wonderful.
Okay, one comment.
Yes.
Which is, I'm glad that you're recording this because I want to be able to either look at it again or tell people, oh, see episode number 9, because that's where he talks about how to get your secondary award entered.
Yes. And when I figure out where to post these so people have access to them, that will be much easier. Okay. And I'm working on that one. I'm researching it. Actually, I'm working on putting together a podcast which will deal with each one of these situations in a sequential format. So
and could you also keep track of what subjects and maybe even a couple of the questions that you address so we know where to find?
Yeah, what I'm doing right now inside of presentation mastery, there's one of the pieces that I absolutely loved when I saw Pathways when it rolled out. You know, when we first saw it, was to do a podcast, and that's something that I've always been interested in, but I've never had the time and never had the gumption to go ahead and do it. So I'm now doing level 4 in presentation mastery, and one of my electives is to put together a podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm stepping through the process. I talked to our webmaster about the possibility of putting links to the podcast right there on our D7 webpage. And now I'm going to start building content. My goal is to have a series of podcasts, each about 3, 4, 5 minutes long, that talk about just one different aspect about Pathways, so that if somebody has an issue or a problem, they can just click on that, listen to it, and hopefully get everything clarified 100%. So we're hoping, I'm hoping that's going to be a good thing. I'm moving forward with it, and I'm kind of excited because I'm enjoying Pathways a whole lot. Okay, let's get into Pathways. Beginning my fabulous journey by clicking on the button and having it do nothing. Okay, we're in, and I'm going in and New Horizons. Absolutely. Okay, the second piece that I was going to talk about, forget it, just go right into it, is feedback. And this thing pops up again for no apparent reason. It's only supposed to show up the first time, but it likes to show up repeatedly. Okay, feedback. How to upload your own feedback. Now, I clicked on the feedback tab so that I could get to my ePortfolio, because there's not a button on the front page to come directly to your ePortfolio.
Key point.
So I can get there through my feedback. I can get there through my badges. And I believe, let's see if I can get there through my transcript. Yes, my transcript, because ePortfolio lives at the top of all of those. So then click on ePortfolio. Shows me my documents and my badges. In my documents, I got 10 documents, and I've got them separated into the levels that I'm working on, 1, 2, and 3. You get into the level by clicking on the word, not the box, not the big box that highlights when you roll over it. That took me about 15 minutes and an educational video to figure out. You need to click on the word because that is the hyperlink, not the box itself. Once you click on the word, you are inside of the folder. And these are the 5 items that I showed you in the presentation, which you can open by clicking on the word, and the document will show up in a PDF. Here, this is a picture of the evaluation that I uploaded. And then I believe this first one, research, is also a picture because he sent it to me. One of these I took as, this one here, I took the written evaluation, downloaded the PDF, and typed it into the editable fields of that PDF. So I typed in all the information and then uploaded this to my level completion. A couple of benefits to this. Number one, it's easily readable. Sometimes I noticed on scanning or taking a picture of the forms that, especially if the comments are in pencil, it can be a little hard to read. So this I can read quite well. The downloaded PDF has editable fields, so you can just type right into them. You don't have to create fields. You don't have to put text blocks in. They're already there. And when you upload them, these files are significantly smaller than either a picture or a scan. And I will show you that right here. We go into my evaluations that I have on my computer. And they're all showing the same size. Okay, so I'm not going to be showing you that because they're all the same size.
Okay, quick question. So these were your evaluations for other people that they needed for their speech, or you needed to be proof that you evaluated somebody?
These were evaluations that were given to me from speeches that I did in this project. So level 1. These are all the evaluations that other people gave me on my projects.
Okay.
And how did you upload those?
I did upload them, and that is how that's what I'm going to show you right now.
Okay.
So,
just a quick comment.
Yes.
There's nothing that's stopping somebody, your evaluator, from, downloading the evaluation form, filling it out, and then emailing it to you, and then you can upload it.
Absolutely. That is a fantastic way of doing it. There are multiple ways of doing that. I usually like to download and print out my evaluation and then take that evaluation to my club meeting, because we've often had situations where the evaluator doesn't show up. So I'm able to hand this to the evaluator that will be suddenly evaluating me, as opposed to them having to go and find it online right at that moment. And then that gives me a hard copy that I can upload later on. But if I know I'm evaluating somebody else, sorry, go ahead.
That's always the best practice, to bring the printout.
It is. It's a very good practice.
But even if you have the printout, the person who evaluates you could still, go home, download it, type it up, and email it to you.
Yes, they could.
Yeah.
And I have several that I've received that way. Absolutely.
And also, if they are very techy, you can email them ahead of time, and they can open their laptop right there in front of the speaking.
They can. Yep. They can download it right there in the meeting and fill it out as you're speaking, and then provide you with the evaluation there. Absolutely. The one piece that they cannot do is they cannot upload the evaluation to your portfolio.
Right.
Only you can upload files to your own portfolio.
Right.
All right, let's back up to my documents right here. Now, these 6 folders are standard for everybody inside of Pathways. These are pre-created. We do not have a way to create any new files or any new file structure. So you have a file for each of the 5 levels, plus one that's just called My Documents. Now, how you choose to use them is completely up to you. My plan is that my active path, I'm going to be saving all of my evaluations in each of the levels. And then when I've completed those, I'm going to move all of those into My Documents so that my active level is always the one that has the most current evaluations. That's the plan.
Jack,
Let's see if that works.
Did those already come with the names attached to them?
Yes, they did.
I'm sorry, this is okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody has levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and a folder called My Documents that lives under ePortfolio. Now, I know you just joined, so let me back up and show you exactly how to get there. So from the Pathways opening screen with the pictures and the 5 blue buttons, you can get to your ePortfolio probably more than 3 different ways. But the easiest, the way that I use, is that I click on the blue My Feedback button and then come up to the white bar across the top and just click on ePortfolio, which takes me into ePortfolio, and then I can click on the Documents, big Documents button, which will take me directly into the folder system. So once you're in the folder system, let's use level 4 as an example because I have no files in there. If I wanted to upload something to level 4, I click on level 4, which opens that. You can see there's nothing in here currently. On the right-hand side, there's this lovely red button that says Add File. That you can click, You can either drag and drop or select files directly from your computer. At this point, I don't see that they have the ability to select from, say, a Google Drive or another online storage. It appears to go directly to your computer. So if you are using an online storage system, you may need to download them before you upload them into this. So I've clicked on that button, and my cursor is doing the spinning dance of time. There we go. Now we get the file upload, which is my computer. And it is moving the speed of molasses in January. All right, let's go into Pathways. I'm going to grab Evaluations. And I am going to grab this just randomly. I'm grabbing my Icebreaker evaluation. So once I select that, I click the Open button. It then drops it into the box. So I can continue selecting files if I so decide, or I can remove them if I haven't grabbed the right one by clicking on the little X. Once I have all the files here that I want, I click the Add button, and then it uploads, and it's available for you inside of your level, and then you can open it by clicking on that button. So is that clear?
Yes, would you remind us where you got this form that you typed the info into?
Absolutely. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to mention one caution first. When you click on the Add File and you do a Select File, you see this last file that I have here that has extra text on it, adding onto this. When I click that and attempt to upload a file with a long file name, it's giving me a red message saying, sorry, the file name is too long. So be aware, if you have long file names, it won't let you upload them. So you're going to have to keep them shorter. That's just something that I've discovered when I'm trying to upload a full long file name. All right. Now, where do you find your evaluation forms? Perfect question. For that, we go back to the home screen for Pathways. The easiest way to get evaluation forms for yourself, or if you're evaluating somebody else in your club, is to click on the blue button at the very end, the fifth one, that says Speech Evaluations. Once you click on that button, you then have the information of speech evaluations and some links at the top. If you scroll down, you see all of these in columns and row formats. These are all the evaluations for every single project in Pathways. So at this point, all you have to do is scroll down until you find the title for the project that you want to evaluate. And I'm going to go for the Icebreaker because everybody knows that name. You click on whichever project it is. Pathways then launches a training details window that says Icebreaker Evaluation Resource. Then you click the Launch button, which opens that in a new window and gives you the PDF that which you can then download directly to your computer. So that is where you find every single evaluation resource for every single project in all of Pathways, not just the level you're working on, but every single one of them. So if you're evaluating somebody that's working on a path that you are not in, no problem. All you need is the name of the project. Then you just go to the speech evaluations and you have the evaluation of every single speech.
I had a question, by the way.
Yes.
Is headquarters going to be fixing or working on that long file name limitation?
I don't know if it's on their list or not. At this point, it's one of those, I found that it's, it's a limitation, so I just make sure I name my stuff a little bit shorter than that. I'm not sure if that's something they'll be fixing. We could put it on our wish list, maybe, because I like long file names that say, project, date, location, weather, time zone,
sure.
what I was wearing,
Yeah.
all of that stuff in my file name sometimes.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, are we ever going to see a list of those 400, 500 things that are on their workplace?
I don't know, but that would be wonderful to see. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they have lots of stuff to work on. As we find them, we let them know. Okay.
Once you fill out that form
Yes.
that you put up there, then do you have to download it to your computer? Can you save it directly to your feedback area, or how does that work?
Okay, perfect question. So let's do that. We're going in here. I'm going to grab the active listening because that's one I don't have downloaded, so I don't have to worry about saving over the top of something that I currently have. So that launches the active listening, which I've already requested this one, so apparently I already have this in my transcripts. Maybe I should pick something different. Yeah, I don't have this one. Building a social media presence. Perfect. So we're launching that, which opens in a PDF. Now, this PDF right here that opens, the fields are not editable. So I am not able to type directly into these. What I do is click on the download button. I open it with Adobe Acrobat Reader, which then downloads and launches that program on my computer. And it is in the process of downloading. And it is in the process of figuring out where Adobe Acrobat is located and launching it. There it is. Perfect. So now we are in Adobe Acrobat Reader DC, which is a free program. And now you can see these fields are editable. I can click in them and start typing. Once I have filled out the form, and you can, I'm going to shrink it down so it's not so huge. As you can see, the general comments section is a large box that you can enter lots of text in on each of those. Then the numbers, you can click in the boxes and it will change, you know, put the dot in for which number you're dealing with. The comments block is open. You have all of that. Once I have filled in my form, I click on the save, which puts it as a save as. I save it locally on my computer in an evaluations folder, which is opening. Then I've got the evaluation resource, which I'm going to rename social media, just so I know exactly what it's called. Save that to my computer. Once I have saved it to my computer, I go back to my universal transcript, click on ePortfolio. Yeah, this is if I want to upload it back to my profile. Click on ePortfolio, Documents, choose whichever level I want to put it in. Click the Add File button, the Select File button, and grab social media. And then it uploads, sticks it in the queue, click Add, and now I have that PDF that I just typed information into is now inside of my profile, which I can then open and look at. As you can remember, I just typed on the first line, and then on the second page, I selected this little box. So this file I cannot type on. I cannot edit this file once it is here. I can delete it, or I can save over it. Probably deleting would be easiest. You can delete a file by clicking on the down arrow on the far right-hand side. You can also open it here and click the delete. Are you sure you want to delete this? And then I say yes, and it's gone. So that's how we get files in and out. Now, you are not limited to only uploading evaluations. You can upload any particular document or file that you want to save to this cloud, Pathways Cloud Saving ePortfolio. There are two limitations. One, long file names, as we saw earlier. And the second limitation is that they will not allow files larger than 40 megs. So you can save files up to about 40 megs. Text documents, PDF files, pictures, audio recordings, and short videos. You could probably get in there too if you wanted to save snippets. So you are limited on file size to 40 megs. I do not know if there is an overall, how much you can save in there. I haven't tested that one out yet. But
I have a question.
Yes.
About your Adobe Acrobat DC.
Yeah.
I found that sometimes I can edit a PDF, but I'm not always confident that I can. Like I can do it on Safari or maybe it was Conqueror, but not Firefox. But that could change over time. So how did you get this Adobe DC, and where did you get it?
This is a separate standalone program. So what you're looking at on my screen right now is I am in Adobe Acrobat. I am not in a browser. This is a program that is launched on my computer. I got this by just essentially going online to, you know, Adobe Acrobat Reader, typing that in, and Adobe Acrobat Reader.
Okay, so it's just a free reader. It's not the whole program then.
Yeah, it's a free PDF viewer for Windows. It gives you the options to be able to edit PDFs as well. It's pretty robust for a free program.
Yeah.
And it's a great, because PDFs are, well, they're standard fare around the web. So having an Adobe Acrobat is really, you know, I mean, you have access to, you can export, create, all sorts of different things you can do with your PDF.
Okay, great. Because I know the full program is like $700. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, I've got the like Adobe Pro at work, but I just have the, I think I just, you know, just the reader here.
Okay, that's great.
Absolutely. Any other questions? You got great questions. Everybody has great questions.
I have one. If once you fill out your form, you upload it, and it's in the last example is in level 4, then do you get credit for having, by virtue of there being a file in there, do you get credit towards completing level 4? How do you get credit as far as, now I completed my first speech, but I didn't know how to do the evaluation part, so it wouldn't really let me do the second one, although I did the second one, but now I have 2 and I don't have any evaluations uploaded yet. Got it.
Okay. So first and foremost, there is no requirement that you upload an evaluation to your ePortfolio. You can complete all of your projects and never upload a single file. That is not a requirement for level completion on any particular level.
That's interesting.
That I have seen.
Great, I appreciate that, because I'd kind of rather not do that.
Yeah. If this is only a tool if you want to save information to your portfolio here in Pathways, with the understanding that other people can see it, especially Basecamp Manager. So if you're saving a lot of cat videos, then maybe you want to keep those, you know, I keep them on my computer. I don't put them in Pathways so I can watch them.
Then how does the VPE know that you've done it? Where's the record?
I'd say about 70 to 80% of people are members of one club only, and often the VPE is there in the club to witness, and or the VPE has scheduled the individual to give the speech. So if the VPE has already done the scheduling or is in the club, then the verification process is already done. I only suggest doing this, and I'm doing it because I'm a member of 3 different clubs. So this is letting the VPE of each of those clubs, or whichever club that I choose to give my level completion to, it's simply letting them know, yes, I've done the projects and here's the proof. Now, I probably wouldn't have to do that. I could probably go to the VPE and simply explain to them, because they know that I'm in multiple clubs, that I give lots of presentations and, you know, I have completed them, and they would probably take me at my word.
Or look at your book.
Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily have a book because Pathways is entirely online.
Oh, right.
So the only way they could see that I've completed something is they could look at the evaluations inside of my ePortfolio folders.
Well, they can look at the paper evaluation that you handed your evaluator at the meeting.
They could. They could see the paper evaluation, absolutely. And if I didn't have the paper evaluation, like if I did a PDF and uploaded it, then I could show them that file. So that's what I'm using these files here as a form of verification for the 3 different VPEs in my different clubs. But you don't have to do this. This is not a requirement for completing a level. In fact, it's entirely separate from that.
Okay.
Now let's step back to the transcript.
James, I was
going to
I
level.
was going to answer that.
Okay.
What?
Sorry. Somebody have a question? I was walking over.
Vanessa.
Yeah, I was just going to add, because I'm the VPE for our club, and I'm actually a remote member. And so a lot of our information is handled virtually. And so when the individuals do their speeches, I'm in all of the meetings and I see that they're giving their speeches, but they also forward me a copy of their evaluation. So I have a scanned in copy or whatever the case may be. And so I have that. So just that's an option as well in terms of with that process.
Absolutely. It's allowing us to be comfortable with multiple levels of verification. Number one, if we're there in person, great. Number two, we can see the evaluations right here. It doesn't take over any system that you currently have. It's meant to be an aid to helping you and not a requirement. Now, I believe there was a question. Somebody said that they had completed, or they tried to complete their icebreaker, but it wasn't marking complete.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, I completed it, but I didn't know how to get credit for it within Camp.
Now, can you see my screen where it says Presentation Mastery Level 1?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Are you looking at the computer screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on mine where it says Icebreaker, it's got a little check on it. Does yours also have a check?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it's not considered complete at all.
Okay.
And then the system wouldn't let me look at the next speech. Because
until it is marked that. Okay. So on the right-hand side, let's see if I go to, I'm going to go to one that I haven't completed yet. Because this one, Managing Difficult Audience, which I'm saving for TLI, by the way. So I can launch, what I've done is I've launched this project in the past and gone through and I did the initial self-assessment. And as you can see on right here, there's no check marks and it still says just launch. So I have not completed this one. I've got a couple of things open. I'm going to close that. There. And this is spinning up. It is launching the pop-up window curriculum for the difficult audience. I will maximize that window. And I am at the end where it says your evaluation because I've gone through and I've done my pre, and then I've got the access to the evaluation resource, my project, the role play assignments. By clicking the right-hand button, this is the assess your skills after, and I'm just going to show you real quick because I can come back and change these later. So I'm just going to pick, did I successfully diffuse during the presentation? I think so. We did quite well. I'm aware of difficult types of audiences and individuals. Often, I work with family. I'm very aware of difficult individuals. I recognize how this project applies. Yes, very much so. So once I submit, now how it should work, 9 times out of 10, sometimes it doesn't, is once I click the submit button, it's going to say, congratulations, you have completed your project. Once it does that, on the next screen,
maybe I have to click the X
there. Congratulations, you have completed this project. You are ready to advance to the next project. If you did not see this screen in your icebreaker, I would suggest relaunching the icebreaker, tabbing through every single page till you're at the very last page, the one that says congratulations.
Okay.
Once you see this, if you close the window, by magic, you see a check that suddenly appeared saying that I have completed this project.
Okay. That's what I did not do. Thank you.
Technically, you can complete a project even before you've given it simply by clicking through and going, oh, I'm at the very end and it says congratulations. So
that was great.
There's always that. You can go through and click each one of these off before giving them. Now, granted, you do want to give them, of course, and I will be giving that. This presentation is saved for Saturday, so I'm using that one there. But this is giving me access to my electives now because that one is completed. I can now click view details and activate various ones. And this one right here is the one I'm working on, the creating a podcast. I'm having fun with that one.
Aren't we a difficult audience when we all talk at the same time and ask you questions you can't answer?
Well, there are the interrupters. Let's see, interrupters, difficult people. I have not encountered a know-it-all yet. So if somebody knows everything, please let me know. And then the silent person, and then the technologically engaged, which I think that's all of us because we're using our tech device right now. So those are the 5 main difficult people that I have to deal with. And
do you get training on this?
Then you get the people with the questions that stump you.
Absolutely. Those are fantastic. And yes,
Go back,
there is.
go back to that last screen. Oh,
Okay.
well, actually, while you're there, I like that. Okay, you have just now gained access to all these electives, right?
Yes.
And yet some of them over on the right, the red, have launch and some say activate.
Correct.
What does that mean?
It doesn't seem likely that the default word would be different for different projects. Why are they
this is because the activate means that I have not clicked on any of those. As you can see, 2 of them are clicked launch. That's because I activated them. The way
How?
the
You didn't have
pathways
access until just now, you said.
well, I did have correction. I did have access to these because the elective projects you can do during the same period of time that you're working on the other project. So yes, I did already have access because I have in my hot little hands the entire project for Create a Podcast that I'd already downloaded. So I did. All right, technically you caught me in a lie. Oh my goodness. I did have access to this.
Well, you didn't have the check mark showing that you'd finished the required. Well, I am glad to see that you can look at the electives before you do the required one. You
can look at your electives before completing them. And if you click the activate button, it simply changes to launch.
Okay.
What this is doing in their software, it's marking this building social media presence will now show up as a separate line item under the details section of my transcript, which most people don't look at. This is something that happens behind the scenes. And once you click the launch, that's when the pop-up window opens with the curricula. So I can go through here and click every single one of these, and it's going to change them all to launch. Yeah. So now it just means that I've set every single one of these up as a potential project for me to work on.
Yeah. Well, that means you get access to all the details of all those projects.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
Then you can choose which one with
more
more information.
Look at them, read, go through all of the, all the pre-tests and all of the training stuff inside of each one, and look at that as well.
And since they're elective, that means you don't have to do all of them, or how many do you have to do?
Okay, we're back on the level 4 main window. The first one was the managing difficult. You see under elective projects completed 0.
Oh, okay.
Minimum required is 1.
Okay.
Under level 3, that's where you first run into elective projects. Minimum required is 2. So on level 3, you have a main project and then you have 2 electives.
Okay.
You can choose those. And each of the electives is slightly different depending on the path that you've chosen, as well as the main project will be different.
Can you go and unlaunch them or unactivate them back to launch?
At this point, I have launch and view training details, so no, I cannot unactivate launch. I have activated, they are on the launch pad and are fueling. You are unable to remove them from the launch pad at that point.
Interesting.
But
that might be a good thing for the wish list. If everything that's launched then shows up, on your transcript somewhere.
Right. Now that's what we'll look at here. Because
it seems like once you decide which of those electives you want, you might want to remove all the extra ones from your transcript.
Right.
Yeah.
So as you can see here on the transcript, this very first one, building a social media presence, that's the evaluation resource that I downloaded.
Right.
Now, if I'm done with that one, I can mark it complete and it will go away. So I've used that evaluation and it's gone now. If I want to see all of my completed ones, this down arrow over here, right now I'm looking at everything that's active. I can change that to completed. It will show me a list of every single thing that I've looked at and opened or viewed so far inside of Pathways. And then you can also archive them, which I haven't done yet because I haven't needed to. Now, you can see, though, that none of those electives that I clicked on are showing up outside of the level itself. So the electives are staying inside of Project Mastery. So once I click that open, then I have access See here, this is the details page that I was talking about. These are all of the ones under the status column that I have marked activated or non-activated, I've registered for. But 9 times out of 10, you really don't need to come into this screen. This gives you the option of being able to change status of the individual projects. It gives you a brief description. You can change it from activated to not activated, check and sort date. This is kind of the back window to kind of the database that is set up inside of Pathways. And I'll probably play around here a little bit more and doing a more in-depth presentation of it later, because I'm sure there'll be some times that this will be useful. Okay. Well, we're at 7:53, and I am open for more questions. We got 8 more minutes.
I just want to
have one.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask again, so just verify that my VPE needs to sign off that my project is complete. I cannot do that.
Your VPE signs off on level completion only, not the projects inside of a level. You can do and complete any and all of the projects inside
the success,
a
once I get the success part, okay.
Right. Your VPE only gets into the mix, and I've got to try and get out of training details. There we go.
Okay.
The VPE only, once you get down to the 3rd row, the level completion, that's where the VPE gets into.
Okay.
But inside of all the rest of these, you're doing your own projects, and they do not have to verify that these have been completed. They'll do the level completion. Okay. And the other question?
So James, for the VPEs, who signs off on our completion?
For the VPE, there are 3 people in every club that have access to Basecamp Manager. The VPE, the president, and the secretary. So you, as a VPE, when you complete your level, you're probably going to want to sit down with your president or your secretary and walk them through the level completion, because probably they won't have done it yet. And this handles 2 things. Number 1, it gets your level completed, which is really good. Number 2, it gets somebody else trained so that if you're unavailable to do level completions, they can take care of it for you. This is like training your successor. It's beautiful. Yes. So I encourage you to do like a virtual session with some of the people in your online club. It might even be good to do it for the entire club so they can see what what the manager duties look like. That way you can get somebody who's interested and really wants to do it lined up for next year. I think that would be fantastic. Absolutely. Great.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions we have?
Yeah, James, I have one.
Yep.
Did I understand correctly that as an evaluator of a Pathways speech, I can't upload the evaluation for the speaker?
You cannot upload it to their profile. That is correct.
Perfect.
You can send it to them via email, hard copy, snail mail, hand it to them in the meeting. You can do any of those, but you cannot upload it to their profile.
I won that bet. Okay, thank you.
Ooh, how much was it worth? Yeah, that was something that we had originally thought we could do based on the information we were given as guides, but it turns out that that is something that we are not able to do.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you, sir.
Yep, absolutely.
In fact, it looks like those uploaded evaluations are there strictly for the benefit of the member himself.
Of the member, and like for me in multiple clubs, it's so that I don't drive my VPEs nuts by telling them, oh yeah, I did it. I can point to it and say, here are the evaluations, you can check.
Well, even at that, it's not official, because you could upload an evaluation for a speech you never gave. You could upload an evaluation that gives you, great, remarks saying how wonderful.
Do such a thing.
So as far as verifying that you've given a speech, it's the same as the old system.
Yes.
You
have
have
a lot of trust.
A paper form, or just trust, because for that matter, you could take your current manual from the old system and fill it out with, scribble in somebody's name, and you say, oh, I went to some other club and gave this speech.
Right.
You know, your VPE will believe you because, you know, what's the point of lying about it?
Absolutely. Yep.
So the online uploaded stuff is there for your own benefit. Really.
Yep. You got it. Absolutely.
In fact, if you choose to type in stuff rather than scan the paper form, you probably could add your own notes and maybe in some way, you know, in brackets or something so that you know which notes were your evaluators and which notes were comments you made about the evaluation or notes to yourself about, you know, what you really meant or what you particularly want to work on for next time.
Yeah, you can upload a separate document file with just your notes on the project for yourself. Yeah, absolutely a possibility. All right, so this is my final plug for the evening. Thank you all for being here. I encourage everyone to sign up for the Pathways AAA Award because it spreads awareness about Pathways, and I will send you a really cool Be Extraordinary pin for completing all 3 steps. Early adopter, that simply means you did your icebreaker. Early advisor simply means you answered somebody's question about Pathways. And then the early achiever is that you have completed level 1 in any path. If you have not seen this email, which I have sent a couple times using, I don't remember the name of I think it was Vertical Response, so it may end up in a few people's spam boxes. But I am more than willing to send this to you personally with the links so that you can fill out and verify you have done these things, and then I can personally send you a really cool pin for your progress. Thank you all very much for being here this evening.
Yes, you too. Thanks.
Thank you, James.
I am doing this. Okay, Vanessa, I will do so. I do this every Tuesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. My goal is to run this through the rest of the year and maybe beyond. Stay tuned for the possibility of a podcast specifically around Pathways coming to a website maybe near you. So thank you all once again. And I am.
Well, we can come see you in person on Saturday and be part of that difficult audience.
I hadn't even. I'm sorry. TLI.
Y'all at TLI.
Come to TLI at Wilsonville High School. I am doing both Pathways Unleashed sessions. If you come, bring your laptops. We're told we're going to have Wi-Fi coverage so that we can get in there, answer questions, and deal with troubleshooting right on the spot.
Promo. Very good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, one and all, and have a good evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
Good night, James.
Good night.
Hey, James.
Yeah.